The most iconic luxury car brand on the planet is named after a little girl. Not a CEO, not an engineer, not a billionaire, a 10-year-old girl named Mercedes. But the real story behind this brand is even stranger than the name. Because Mercedes-Benz wasn't created by one genius. It was created by two rivals who never met, working just 60 miles apart at the exact same time. And the man who started it all, he wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He was the son of a poor baker from a tiny German town. No money, no connections. No future in the world of machines. This is the story of how a baker's boy built one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. The year is 1834. In the small German town of Schorndorf, a boy named Gottlieb Daimler is born into a family of bakers. His father Johannes runs a modest bakery in the center of town. The family lives above the shop. There is no wealth, no inheritance. And in 1834, Germany, your future was decided the day you were born. If your father was a baker, you became a baker. No questions asked. But young Gottlieb had a problem. He didn't care about bread, he didn't care about flour or ovens or dough. He cared about one thing only: machines. While other children played in the streets, Gottlieb was sketching mechanical drawings. On Sundays, while other boys rested, he walked across town to attend technical drawing classes. By 13, he'd finished 6 years of school and told his father, plainly, that he wanted nothing to do with the bakery. His father was devastated. He wanted Gottlieb to become a government clerk. Safe, stable, respectable. But Gottlieb refused. Instead, at just 14, he walked into a gunsmith's workshop and begged for an apprenticeship. For 4 years, he trained learning precision, patience, and the fine art of building with his hands. He crafted a flawless pair of double-barreled pistols as his final piece. The quality stunned everyone, but even that wasn't enough. Gottlieb didn't want to make guns for the rest of his life. He wanted to make engines, machines that could move, machines that could change the world. So he packed his bags and left his hometown forever. He enrolled at Stuttgart's Polytechnic Institute. He traveled to France to learn mechanical design. He worked in factories in England. He visited industrial plants across Europe, absorbing every detail. A baker's son, no money, no connections, no safety net. But he had something more powerful than all of that. An obsession that could not be stopped. For 30 years, Daimler worked as an engineer. Across Germany, he climbed the ranks. Earned respect. Mastered everything about steam engines, gas engines, and industrial machinery. Then he met two men who changed his life forever. The first was Wilhelm Maybach, an orphan with no family and no fortune, but a genius designer. Quiet where Daimler was intense. Careful where Daimler was bold. Together, they became one of the greatest partnerships in the history of engineering. The second was Nikolaus Otto, the inventor of the four-stroke engine. Daimler worked under Otto for 10 years at his factory in Cologne. But here's where things get interesting. Daimler didn't just want to improve Otto's engine, he wanted to shrink it, make it faster, lighter, compact enough to fit inside a vehicle that could move on roads. Otto thought this was ridiculous, reckless. The two clashed constantly, and in 1882, after years of bitter arguments, Daimler was pushed out. Most men would have been crushed. Daimler was 48. Fired, no company, no factory, no future. But instead of giving up, he did something no one expected. He took his severance money, bought a villa in the town of Cannstatt, and converted the greenhouse in his backyard into a secret workshop. And here, inside a tiny glass greenhouse, Daimler and Maybach quietly began building the future. By 1883, they'd created something the world had never seen. A high-speed petrol engine. Small, powerful, revolutionary. They called it the grandfather clock because of its tall, narrow shape. In 1885, they strapped a smaller version to a wooden bicycle frame. Daimler's son Paul climbed on and rode it along the River Neckar. 12 kilometers per hour. Wobbly, loud, and dangerous. But it worked. The world's first motorcycle. 1 year later, they secretly mounted the engine inside a horse carriage, telling neighbours it was a birthday gift for Mrs. Daimler. Nobody suspected a thing. It became the world's first four-wheeled automobile. Then they put the engine in a boat, then a streetcar, then a fire engine, then a dirigible. Daimler's dream was simple but insane. Put an engine in everything that moves. And he was doing all of this from a greenhouse in his backyard. His neighbours grew suspicious. Strange noises at night. Smoke pouring from glass walls. They were convinced he was counterfeiting money. Someone called the police. Officers raided the greenhouse and found nothing but engines, tools, and grease. In 1890, Daimler finally attracted serious investors. They founded the Daimler Motor Company. At last, the greenhouse genius had a real business. But success brought enemies. His new partners didn't share his vision. They wanted to sell boring stationary engines for factories. Daimler wanted to revolutionize how humans move. The board fought him at every turn. Then came the ultimate betrayal. In 1893, the board forced Daimler out of his own company. They gave him a brutal ultimatum: sell every share and surrender 30 years of personal patents, or they would declare bankruptcy and destroy everything. The founder, thrown out of his own creation, told to walk away from his life's work. But Daimler wasn't the kind of man who surrendered. He secretly funneled money to Maybach. His partner kept designing engines from the shadows. New patents were quietly registered under Maybach's name alone, and when the company started failing without them, the board came crawling back. Daimler returned in 1895, and business exploded, but the years of obsessive work had taken their toll. His heart was failing, and on March 6, 1900, Gottlieb Daimler died. He was 65. He never saw what happened next. Shortly after his death, a wealthy Austrian businessman named Emil Jelinek approached the company. Jelinek was obsessed with racing, and he made an offer they couldn't refuse: 36 custom racing cars for 550,000 gold marks. But on one condition: the car had to be named after his 11-year-old daughter. Her name was Mercedes. The 1901 Mercedes 35 GP was unveiled at the Nice Racing Week in France. It destroyed every competitor, won nearly every race. And overnight, the name Mercedes became the most famous word in motoring. Jelinek was so proud he legally changed his surname to Jelinek Mercedes. He once said, "This is probably the first time a father has taken his daughter's name." Then, in 1926, something poetic happened. Daimler's company merged with Karl Benz's firm. Benz had built his own automobile just 60 miles away at the exact same time. Two pioneers, same country, same era. They never once met while alive, united only after death. They became Mercedes-Benz. Two rivals who never shook hands, joined forever, under the name of a little girl. If this story gave you chills, hit that subscribe button right now. We bring stories like this every single week. The untold histories behind the world's biggest brands. Turn on notifications so you never miss one. Today, Mercedes-Benz is one of the most valuable luxury brands on the face of the earth. A global empire, a symbol of power, precision, and engineering excellence. But it all started with a boy who refused to become a baker. A boy who sketched machines while others played. Who left home with nothing but curiosity. Who got fired at 48 and built the future in a greenhouse while his neighbours called the police. Gottlieb Daimler proved something most people never understand. You don't need to be born rich to build an empire. You don't need anyone's permission to change the world. Sometimes all you need is an obsession and a greenhouse.